they're going to be misguided and they're going to go down this route where, it's just about, China and starting something with them because that happens to play well politically. So I think we have to go
and let's not forget Russia. Let's not forget the nefarious activities of Russia in all of this and the re-election of Vladimir Putin. I know you were very surprised by Putin's massive re-election. I thought it was.
Who knew? I thought there was a very strong opposition there. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. But this is the kind of thing which we have to recognize that a president of the United States is critical in all that. And when former President Trump continues to praise Orban of Hungary, who is a totalitarian dictator of the first order, one is left. It's almost incredulous. By the way, did I just hear, little thing came on my screen that Governor Youngkin has now endorsed Trump. I don't know what it is with these people. I don't understand. Has the Republican Party lost its soul? You know what I reread? I read a book called The Devil and Daniel Webster by Stephen Vincent Benet, in which a man sells his soul. And that is what the Republican Party is doing. It's just so shocking to me.
That's right.
Not surprising, but shocking.
I think the Republican Party has yet to learn, and those who follow Donald Trump have yet to learn. And I think, unfortunately, it will only come by dint of hard circumstance that really he has no principles except what will benefit Donald Trump. He's not a conservative. He's not a populist. He is only in favor of himself. And you talk about foreign policy that is so dangerous on a foreign policy level. If you take what we talked about this morning, the fact that he owes $500 million, he is looking for money. He's not going to get all of that by dribs and drabs of $10 and $20 from his contributors. He is going to be looking. He is going to be, in fact, like behind the scenes, soliciting contributions from people abroad, people in Hungary, people in Russia. He's going to be
in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely. He's going to be at the behest of foreign powers, and we're going to have a situation again that is even worse than it was before in terms of foreign influence of our most important official positions, unless we are able to defeat him in November.
Well, I have great faith in the American people. And I think that in the end, they'll be defeated.
So.
Can I say a word about Robert Kennedy Jr.? You will note that there was a gathering on St. Patrick's Day at the White House of the Kennedy clan. You will note that RFK Jr. was not there, excluded not just by the White House, but by his own family who oppose him. I'm very concerned because the polls show him doing very well. But I want to point out to you that you don't have an impact unless you're on the ballot. And what Robert Kennedy Jr. is now trying to do is to get on the ballot. And my hope is that we will understand clearly the threat of a Robert Kennedy Jr., who is a conspiracy theorist advocate, a man who opposes vaccines, a man who is running really on his father's name, and who is opposed by his whole family, and I assume that includes his mother, Ethel Kennedy, who is still alive. So these are stark realities. And a quick word about no labels. It is clear that by the time you and I meet next Monday, we are told anyway that no labels will have a candidate for president, a candidate for vice president. I'm very concerned about that as well, because you don't vote for a party, you vote for individuals. Third-party candidates for president, whether it is a Strom Thurmond or a Henry Wallace or a George Wallace or a Ralph Nader or a Pat Buchanan, run on a party label. And it is that party that is the critical factor. But the candidate is the one we vote for. So I'm very concerned. I think there's a real danger that no labels may create real havoc in the system. They're on the ballot now, I believe, in 48 states. And if you are on the ballot in that many states and you get a candidate for president who has no credibility, well, the whole thing is going to crash and burn anyway. But,
let me just say a couple of things about third-party. I in principle have no problem with third-party candidates. I voted for third-party candidates, but let me say about RFK Jr. You cannot take him seriously as someone to vote for. I mean, you should take him seriously as a threat, but someone who has who is anti-vax as he is, someone who has put forward anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about vaccines is just an atrocious person for anyone to consider voting
Absolutely.
for. Yeah.
And he needs to be exposed.
Yeah.
And 3 cheers to Joe Biden and the Kennedy family. That gathering at the White House on St. Patrick's Day was a clear message. The Kennedys stand united with Joe Biden.
Yes. By the way, let me ask you: did you engage in any particular festivities yesterday on St. Patrick's Day, John? I think, as far as I went, I am not a fan of corned beef and cabbage. I did wear a very pale green shirt, so I qualified just barely in terms of festive requirements.
Excuse me, isn't your name O'Rourke?
O'Rourke. My father has investigated our family tree very thoroughly, and if there is any Irish blood in it, in spite of my remaining red hair, I am not aware of it.
I want you to be very careful when you talk about remaining hair. It's very, very sensitive subject.
Indeed, Mr. Rothmann.
Yes. Well, I used to say my parents named me John Francis Rothman. Mm-hmm. I figured with Francis, the middle name, I pick up the whole Irish vote in San Francisco, right. Which in those days was considerable. I think I wore a green sweatshirt yesterday. And that was the extent of my indulgence. Like you, I am not a fan of corned beef and cabbage, but I am a fan of a group I belong to here in San Francisco. Of course, we haven't met in a while, the Irish Italian Israeli Society.
That is a coalition indeed, sir.
Yeah, well, that group, which was part of an institutional memory here in San Francisco, was made up of those groups. And I suggested they add the Iberians because we have such a large Hispanic population here in the city. But these are all of the things we have to think about and consider.
Indeed. And corned beef and cabbage, not for me. Every so often I will partake in a Harp Lager or a Guinness, but
I thought it was an Irish whiskey.
Well, I tend to avoid the whiskey. Beer is more my speed. Every now and again, but not that often.
Can I ask you one other question?
Please do.
What did you think in Chicago of the Green River?
Hey, if they are willing, and I have been to the fine city of Chicago once or twice, been privileged to be there on very beautiful days where the weather was neither too hot nor too cold, and I must say, if they choose to decorate their river once a year, as long as it doesn't have any long-term detrimental effects, and if it is temporary as opposed to permanently luminous, and the fish can survive it, then by golly, I'm okay with that.
And may I say, because I know we have to close, and I hate closing because we have so much to talk about, that I hope the green Donald Trump thinks he has is put to use, paying all those wonderful fines, which he should pay.
Here is to that. John Rothman, the host, Monday through Friday, and a couple of more times a week, which you should check out, of Around the Political World with John Rothman. John, thank you so much again for being with us on Facepalm America.
And I do know we have one other thing in common. I've kissed the Blarney Stone. Have you?
I just speak the Blarney. That's all I do. John, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. See you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being with us on Facepalm America today. I want to thank Ace Elson and Rosabelle Hine, who produced this program for Two Squared Media Productions. You can find out more about that via twosquaredmediaproductions.com. Please take a link to this show, share it on social media, let your friends know about it. It really helps what we do. And until this time, next episode, enjoy the day, my friends.